Hi, and today we are back with another episode of Let's Ask Tom. So today we have a question from Brian. Brian would like to know, can I eat processed foods and still be healthy?
Yeah, like frozen pizza.
I guess it depends on how processed.
You hit a really important point. People say overly processed. I mean, if you want to get down to it, like eating raw asparagus out of a field with dirt still on it, that's pretty fresh food. But then you can cook it and have it in a restaurant and have a wonderful experience in your life. And asparagus is still good. People see things in black and white, as we've discussed before.
Yes.
So it's either natural or it's unnatural. And remember, botulism is natural. It's the deadliest poison on earth, okay? And yet they shoot it in
I want to stay away from that kind of natural.
Yeah, but they shoot it in people's faces every day.
I want to stay away from that too.
And it's a misnomer. It's a logical fallacy that things natural are healthy. That doesn't mean we shouldn't have our foods whole, fresh, and raw. At least less processing.
The least amount of ingredients.
But you can go through life and have a small amount of processed foods, and you can go out to your grandchild or child's birthday party and have a piece of birthday cake, and you won't die. And
you might feel bad the next day.
Yeah, you might be a little bloated, or maybe you'll get a cavity 6 months later. But the point being is it's an all or none. There's a gray area in there, and there's a shift. And don't look at athletes' special diets that you see come up in social media, because the people winning World Cup right now are drinking and are eating at McDonald's too. It doesn't change how an athlete functions. When they get older, as you age, it becomes more of an issue. This doesn't mean young people shouldn't follow a healthy diet, but they're going to have fast foods, overly processed foods, and you're going to see some of the worst habits, because being gifted as an athlete has nothing to do with those things. It has to do with how hard they train, how well they're coached, the strategy, and so forth. Getting back to people eating overly processed foods, I've seen recommendations from people like 10% of your diet.
Okay.
And less is better, of course.
Yeah.
But if you're going out to a restaurant on a Saturday night and it's what you would think is overly processed, it's not a big issue.
I would say try to limit it.
Yeah.
I try to eat as many foods as that are whole foods as possible.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want...
And where you shop around the perimeter of the
grocery store
and not in the middle where all the packaged stuff is. But yeah, and if you go out to dinner, obviously you don't exactly know what they're putting in there, and then every once in a while you have to eat something. I mean, even I hate eating protein bars, but I'm kind of like...
Yeah, they say they're overly processed, too much sugar, and yet there are good protein bars, too, and you're going to get 2 protein bars and a cup of coffee, 40 grams of protein, and ample caffeine, which we all need as humans. Just like make sure your grocery store doesn't have like Gino's Pizza Rolls on the periphery and live on Gino's Pizza Rolls or something like this. But frozen vegetables have more nutrients than fresh vegetables quite often. Not all the time, but quite often.
Because they're like flash frozen.
Yeah, they're frozen very quickly right out. There's no transportation issues.
And then the other thing is, I think maybe people might be a little confused by what is a processed food. And I guess that whenever it's... you have ingredients in there that you might not be able to pronounce. Unless you want to look them all up, which sometimes I do that.
It's kind of a misnomer. It's like, I don't eat anything white. Like, okay, so you don't eat yogurt. Okay, I don't eat anything I can't pronounce. Okay, you can't pronounce riboflavin. Without riboflavin, which is a B vitamin, you die. It's silly.
I noticed, maybe some people will want to chime in on this, but I noticed that when you're looking at labels, and start doing that, because it's actually a good idea to start reading your labels before you buy. But a lot of times they will just throw in there, you'll see sugar added in, and it may not even taste sweet, but they're putting sugar in there. So a lot of people unknowingly are eating a lot of sugar with processed foods, and they're putting like things like emulsifiers and kind of glue type stuff, like carganine or whatever.
Yeah, well, some of them obviously make it taste better texture and provide shelf life.
I'm not sure what that stuff does to your intestinal tract. I'm not quite sure about that. But yeah, just start reading labels, and like if you
Slightly less hazardous to
if you see like
martinis.
this long of a list of, like I go for the fewer ingredients, but if you see
Fewer
a really
ingredients is
long
a good idea.
list, then you're gonna know right away, like this is a what I would call maybe an ultra processed.
Well, then you could have 15 bean soup, which would be that long too. So you have to be
well,
very
just
careful.
read the ingredients and see if there's anything in there that you really don't, see as a real food, and then you'll kind of know, and just keep it to a minimum, huh?
Yeah, that's it. Just keep it to like 10% or less of your diet. Count your calories. Do your aerobics. Do your strength training. Stretch. Sleep well, and avoid accidents and doing stupid things like consuming or exposing yourself to group 1 carcinogens. Just don't have a
type 1 carcinogens.
Group 1 carcinogens. Don't have a cigarette, a margarita, and go lay in the sun all day. That's all. And because you'll get really old, and you have to put up 15-year-old pictures of yourself on Facebook and tell people that was yesterday, as I saw this morning. You have any questions for me, please send them to tomfrum@substack.com, and I'll be glad to answer them.
Thanks, Brian.